Hey guys, Buffing Game back today bringing out a video for our movie weapon series, and today we'll be covering the M4A1 used by Ben Affleck's character in the movie Triple Frontier. So we'll go through the weapon itself, go through some details about the movie, and then we'll go ahead and jump into some gameplay for this weapon as well. So go ahead now and we'll back out here. You see the final design for the M4A1 used by Ben Affleck's character in this movie Triple Frontier. And if we go ahead and back out, you can see the attachments here. And now, in the movie, Ben Affleck plays the character Tom Redfly Davis, and this is the M4, or at least the closest to the M4 that he's going to use in the movie. So if we go ahead and back out here, I'll just use let me take off the camouflage, and we'll build this thing up from base. So here we have the base. I'm going to use the task force blueprint here. You could really get away with almost using any other blueprint also, I think, for the most part, or even the base M4A1, depending on how accurate you want to be, but it's really just a standard M4A1. There are some minor differences here, so we'll go ahead and look at this. So the muzzle, you can leave it blank, or the base one. Now the barrel, this is a tricky one. First, we're going to end up going with the task force version of the 14.5 inch, so that'll give us obviously the right barrel length for the M4A1, and we'll go ahead with the task force. But we'll circle back to that in a minute because you'll see some differences. Actually, we can just go into it now. So the barrel option, the one thing about this is in the movie he's using the M4 that Ben Affleck's character has the front sight post, which is fixed with the gas block. So obviously this version of the 14.5 inch barrel does not have that. So you can see here with the M16A4, the Grenadier, and the 11.5 Commando has that front sight post in there for part of hooked into the gas block. So I was really going to go with 11.5 inch Commando. However, when you put the optic on this weapon, you can see that front sight post disappears and it just turns into a flip-up front sight instead. So it switches out the gas block there. So can't really do that, and you can't really retain that front sight post for this weapon at all, unfortunately. So we'll go ahead and do the task force version of the 14.5 inch. Now the optic here in the movie, he uses a EOTech holographic sight on this. So we'll go ahead and put the Murdoch on this one. So this one in the movie, he has a desert tan version of the M4A1, and the EOTech retains that same camouflage. So using this is the kind of the closest we'll get to it, because the camouflage doesn't cover the optic itself. So that colored optic there with the EOTech or the holographic will give us kind of a close representation of what he's using in the movie. So stock option, we'll go ahead and use that standard M4A1 buttstock for the Forge Tac CQS. So you can see here, obviously there's a couple different versions of this buttstock, so we're going to want either any of these ones that you can see here. We'll go with the version of the task force just to retain the blueprint cosmetics as well as when we put the camo on. So we'll select that. And then for the rear grip, we'll skip. Magazine, we'll skip. We'll leave a base 30 round magazine there. And for the underbarrel, we're going to want that standard of the base version of the Ranger foregrip. We'll go ahead and put that on. And then you have one more attachment here that you can kind of swap out. So I'm going to use it for the sleight of hand. However, you could do something like a rear grip, or if you really wanted to switch out the magazine. However, in the movie, he's using just a standard 30 round Stenag mag. You could even put a laser on this somewhere if you really wanted to. You could put something on top, which he does not have a laser in the movie. And the muzzle device, again, it really already has that at base flash hider on there, so you don't really need anything there. So sleight of hand works pretty well. Now for the camouflage here, we'll go ahead and do the desert camo. It's really the closest we're going to get to what he uses in the movie. Now, the odd thing about the weapon Ben Affleck's character uses in the movie is that it's kind of the opposite of this, right? The upper receiver and everything has that, and the barrel has the camouflage as well as the buttstock, and the lower receiver does not have the camouflage on it. So it's kind of the opposite here, where the lower receiver and everything else has the camouflage and the upper receiver does not have the camouflage. So it's actually a pretty close representation, just flip-flopping the camouflage on the weapon here. And that's really about it. That's the M4A1. Again, as close as we can get. Obviously, if you can see here, if we were to take off the EOTech, go to the base one, unfortunately the camouflage does not cover that. And then if I just remove that, just so you can see the gas blocks. So this one obviously just has the front sight posts. And then, like I said, you could use something like the Corvus Custom, the Grenadier, or the 11.5. However, when we put that EOTech back on there, that gas block disappears from the front sight post. So it swaps out with the optic, so it kind of ruins that, but we can go ahead and just put that 14.5-inch tack light on there for the task force. Retains everything. It looks pretty accurate to the weapon that he uses in the game, except obviously we have the rail covers here on the left and the right hand side, or 9 and 3 o'clock. If the rail covers were gone and the barrel itself were to take the camouflage then on that quad rail, then it would be more accurate, obviously. And you can see it kind of will do that with some of these other options here. You can see like the purist and the base version, that kind of retains that right camouflage. However, we don't have the right gas block for the front sight post, which we don't have anyways, but the handguard is covering too much of the barrel to be as accurate as we want it for this weapon. Then you have obviously your task force and things like that. So we'll go ahead and stick with the task force. That'll be the best one and as close as we can get. So that's the final design. Now also we're going to be using the Glock for the sidearm. I don't really even remember if I used this in the gameplay, but this is going to be in the movie. He uses a Glock 17. Ben Affleck's character, so Josh Davis, or Tom Davis, sorry. So that's as close as we're gonna get, is just a standard X16, just for a Glock. So in the movie is Glock 17, there's Glock 19s, but this is gonna be as close as we'll get. So we'll just use a blank or a base version of the X16 to represent the Glock. So go ahead now, and backing out, we'll go ahead and jump into the gameplay here for the weapon. So see the weapon be used in the background. I try to pick a map that was closest to like a jungle-ish environment, because there is, basically the movie takes place partly in South America, with the Colombian cartels, maybe not Colombian, but the drug lord cartels. They infiltrate a house and hijack or steal a bunch of money. So I try to get something that was kind of woodland-ish, as well as something that kind of took place in a house-type environment. So the barn here is the closest one that I could find. Unfortunately, we don't really have a map that would accurately represent really the terrain or anything that took place in the movie. But again, you can see the weapon itself, M4A1, just a really fun weapon to use overall. Especially this map is very, very small, so the engagements get pretty crazy. I died quite a bit here, but still fun gameplay. And the M4, again, one of those weapons that I remember when this game first came out, Modern Warfare, this thing was so overpowered. You would just get beamed by the M4s, and the sound of just an M4 firing towards you was almost something that you would have nightmares about. Just that distinct M4 sound that finally they nerfed it a few times and it fixed it, but still, it was just one of those weapons that was very, very powerful right off the bat, and rightfully so. So the movie itself, jumping into the movie, again, Triple Frontier, this came out on Netflix in 2019. This was Netflix exclusive. And it feels like it feels like I watched this during the 2020 shutdown when everything was closed off. So maybe it must have came out before then. But again, 2019 was at least when it was released, or at least shot, it seems like. And again, a really good movie. So Triple Frontier, really good cast in this movie as well. You have Ben Affleck playing the main character, Tom Redfly Davis. You have Oscar Isaacs. You have Charlie Hunnam, Garrett Hedlund, and Pedro Pascal in this movie, as well as some others. But a really star-studded cast here. And again, this was a Netflix original movie, produced by Netflix, and what a cast it was. So basically the plot of this movie, for the most part, is that you have ex-special forces who get a hint. You have Oscar Isaac's character, who is still involved with the police. I think I want to say he's a member of the FBI or something. And they get hints as to drug cartels and money being moved and laundered in certain places. And basically, a group of these friends and ex-special forces decide, they put their time into the military over all these years, and what did they get for it? They didn't get the compensation that they felt they deserved. So this is their opportunity now to go in and steal this money. So the quick description here is that loyalties are tested when 5 friends and former special forces operatives reunite to take down a South American drug lord, unleashing a chain of unintended consequences. And again, this movie, really, really good. They go in and try and steal this money that they know is in this house, in this mansion owned by the drug lord. And they do indeed get the money, and just a lot of stuff happens after that. It's a really, really good movie. It's basically them getting the money and then also getting out with the money. And they have to go across, again, Triple Frontier kind of gives it away. They're going quite a great distance to try and get this money free. This is basically their career big payday here. And a lot of things happen without me ruining the movie itself. So Ben Affleck's character, again, really good character development in the movie, and just again that star-studded cast. But Ben Affleck as Tom Redfly Davis with the M4A1, really good. You see this thing in action quite a few times, and you see a few others using the M4A1 as well. And we see a lot of other weapons in the movie here, but we do see some police using the M4A1 in the movie, mainly Ben Affleck's character. We also have M4A1 Salt Mod Block 2s in the movie. We have Colt 993s and a lot of good pistols, things like that, M16s, AKs, Colt Car 15s. So there's a lot of weapons in this movie and a lot of good firefights. So let me know down below if you guys saw this movie. Again, this is still available on Netflix. It is a Netflix original that came out in 2019 on Netflix. So you can go and watch this today. And now that I'm covering this movie, I might watch it again. I just watched it recently, which is why I decided to do this one for the movie Weapon series. But it's a really good movie, directed by J.C. Chandro, I believe is how you pronounce his name. 2019 Netflix original. And again, just one of those really good movies that you can rewatch a couple times and never get bored with it. So really good cast. Let me know down below what you guys think. Have you watched the movie? Are you going to watch the movie? What did you think of the firefights in this movie, as well as the weapons? Till next time, this is Buckner Gaming with Ben Affleck's M4A1 from the movie Triple Frontier. Till next time, Buckner Gaming.